This year, it seems like all the attention is focused on New York City. And aren't you a New Yorker?
A former New Yorker, and I love New York. And it's very sad to see what's happening in New York. The election's coming up shortly, and the polls say that Mamdani will win. And it's an insult to all the New Yorkers to have a fraud of this magnitude being even allowed to run. I mean, he's basically an Iranian agent. Iran is a Shiite Islamo-Nazi death cult. So to have a member of an Islamo-Nazi death cult running for mayor of a city that's with the second largest Jewish population in the world is a scandal. Also, according to the rules of the Iranian Islamo-Nazi death cult, they want to kill all Jews and all Christians. And New York is 90% Christian and Jewish. So it makes no sense that this fraud was allowed to run, and it's a systemic failure of the system that allowed Mamdani to run. He never should have been allowed to run.
On what basis would they reject him? I mean, given the laws today.
He believes in globalizing the Intifada. Globalizing the Intifada is code word for killing all the Jews. I think anybody who runs and says, vote for me, I'm going to kill all the Jews, is disqualified. It's incitement to genocide. And I don't think that it should be legal for someone to be incitement to genocide. Now, if he had said, vote for me, I want to kill all the Christians, maybe the Christians would have reacted. But because he only vowed to kill all the Jews, the Christians leaders in New York City, New York State, and in Washington said, well, it's not so bad to preach genocide against Jews. But the Christians are missing the link between the Jews and the Christians. When the bad guys say they want to kill the Jews, they really say they want to kill the Jews and Christians. But they may not say that in the same sentence. So it causes Christians to think that the Islamo-Nazi death cults are not after them. And it's a big misunderstanding by the Christian leadership and Christian population.
Because what kind of a culture, socio-political culture, will this bring in with this new city hall?
Well, he'll Islamicize the city. So the Islamic movements do not accept the principle of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everybody. They're guided by the principle of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for them. And so they'll make the Christians and Jews second-class citizens, and they'll violate the Constitution. So we do not need alien invaders to come to New York and say they're going to violate the Constitution, because they don't care about the Constitution. So every country has rules, whether you're a city, a state, or federal rules, and you have a culture that's grown up over time. You should not be allowed to run. If you say, vote for me, I hate your culture, I hate life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everybody, I only believe in life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for Muslims, I hate the Constitution, I hate the Bill of Rights, I hate the Declaration of Independence, I hate Americans, I hate Christians, I hate Jews, I hate Hindus. So I say to myself, well, who allowed a foreign agent like this to run? He never should have been allowed to run. He couldn't pass national security clearance because he represents Iran. He's not representing America or its people. So it's one of the great failings of a democracy when a democracy allows foreign agents to run for public office.
Well, regardless of whether he's allowed to run, the public is voting him in. I mean, what responsibility do they bear?
Sure, they bear a responsibility, but I'll give you an example. Pretend that New York City was more full of Italians than it is. It has many Italians, but just pretend it's much higher. And Don Corleone, if you remember from the Godfather movie, pretend, is running for mayor. And the Italians say, great, what a great mayor he'll be. Someone's got to step up, like the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security. Someone's got to step up and say, we can't allow Don Corleone to run. Even though the Italians want a mob leader as their representative, you can't have it. We can't allow people to vote for criminals. Now, if you go back years past, Charles Manson, many younger people won't know, he was killed several people What if Charles Manson was still alive? And he says, I want to run. And all the serial killers in New York City say, great, I'm going to vote for this guy. So we have rules in this country. And if you violate those rules, and you say you're going to violate those rules, we need to have a mechanism to disallow people like that from running.
What about the communist element that he is running on? I mean, he'll call it socialist, democratic socialism. But what about that element, aside from the anti-Jewish aspect?
Well, we have three major enemies, which I color code the reds, the greens, and the blues. The reds are the communists, which you just asked about. The greens are the Islamists, which we also discussed. And the blues are the globalists. So he's a red, green, blue. He's a communist, Islamist, and globalist. He represents our foreign enemies. So he should be arrested for treason and deported. He should be end of story. And basically, if he becomes elected, the whole system will have failed. The President of the United States will have failed. The FBI failed. Department of Homeland Security failed. New York State failed. New York City failed. The police department failed. You name it, every single institution failed. And it's a pretty sad state of affairs when there's systemic failure. Now, we've had systemic failure in America before. It's called Pearl Harbor or 9/11. And in Israel, it was October 7th. So it's not like systemic failure doesn't happen. But to have a system that allows systemic failure, something's got to change. Something we can't allow this to happen, and we can't allow basically Muslims to run for any public office until they renounce Sharia law, and until they publicly say in English and Arabic or Farsi that they accept the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Otherwise, it's treason. You can't have someone who says, I'm treasonous, vote for me. It doesn't work. And so it's going to be a big mess in New York City if he's elected. But eventually he'll be arrested and deported. It's better to do it earlier than later.
What do you think he would be arrested for?
Treason.
In what way?
He's working for Iran. Iran's an Islamo-Nazi death cult. It's promised to kill all the Jews, Christians, and Hindus in the world. So you can't have someone who says, vote for me, I represent foreign enemies, I hate American, and I'm going to help kill all Christians, Jews, and Hindus. Hooray. What are we, stupid? I have a little analogy. I go to Saudi Arabia, and I announce that I want to run to be the mayor of Riyadh. And some reporter asked me, why do you want to be the mayor? I said, well, I hate Muslims, and I love Jews, and I think everyone in Saudi Arabia should be Jewish. And when I become mayor, I'm going to kill all the Muslims. You think I'm going to get to the airport as a living being? I don't think so. And so every culture has to protect its culture and can't allow foreign agents to come in and upset the culture of a country. So if you want one more analogy, I go interview a golf club to become a member, and they say, why do you want to be a member? I love tennis. They go, well, excuse me, we're a golf club. I said, but I love tennis, and I want to become a member, and then I want to become the head of the membership committee, and I want to bring in people who like tennis so that we can bulldoze the golf course and have tennis. The membership committee is going to say, I think you're in the wrong club. Go join a tennis club. Mm-hmm. So you can't do things like this. Organizations must protect themselves. And we're not protecting ourselves, and so I'm not happy.
Well, here at the Republican Jewish Coalition Convention, and obviously they operate all year and try to advocate for things which are good for Jews, good for America as Republicans, and they present possible candidates for people to back financially their campaigns, and they do congressional seats all over the country, and a bit like AIPAC. But what happened to the mayor of New York City, that race, which is so critical to both Jewish interests and to keeping the democratic socialists out? Where was this race on the R.J.C's agenda as reflected here at the convention?
Well, the issue didn't come up, but it's an obvious issue. Where was the R.J.C.? By the way, where were the wealthy Jews? By the way, where were the wealthy Christians? Where was anybody? And so that's why I'm saying it's a systemic failure. You name the organization, or you name the entity, or you name the person, and they failed. And that's a sad state of affairs.